I'm John Batchelor. This is the John Batchelor Show, welcoming to my studio a newly minted politician, a man who's been in political life for many years, John Cahill. Having worked for the Pataki administration and having these many years followed New York politics very closely, he's now stepped across the line to become a candidate for the Attorney General of New York. John, a very good evening to you and welcome to my studio. I hope this is the first of many conversations. You are running in New York as a Republican for the Attorney General. My first straightforward question after asking, did you get your family's permission, is what is it that you want to achieve as a politician, John? A very good evening to you.
First of all, thank you for having me, John. It's wonderful to be here. As you mentioned, I've been in government for 12 years, never having been a politician before, but I certainly understand the importance that government plays in the lives of its citizens. And I've loved this state, whether it's in Buffalo or Brooklyn. We have such a diverse community in the state. And I see the state, and I worry about the state in the direction in which it's heading. And when I look at the Attorney General's office, I see an office that really is not living up to its potential to serve as the advocate for the people of the state of New York. It's an extremely important position to be the people's lawyer, to be out there fighting for the interests of everyday New Yorkers. And when I travel around the state, people don't know who the Attorney General is or what he does, and that needs to change because the Attorney General represents the people of the state of New York and should be a more vocal advocate for the citizens of the state.
Mario Cuomo right now is running for re-election, is a man who was Attorney General at one point, I believe, and before him there was an earlier governor who left in disgrace who was Attorney General before he became governor. So is the Attorney General position the governor-in-waiting in the state of New York?
Well, it certainly shouldn't be, John. I mean, as someone once told me, AG doesn't stand for Attorney General, it stands for aspiring governor. And I think it's great for people to be ambitious and to achieve more in their careers. But there's something unique about a person with prosecutorial powers and when that person is trying to use those powers to assume to a higher office. I really believe that the Attorney General should be somebody that's there that's committed to the people's interests, not their own political interest. And I certainly, if I'm chosen by the people to serve in that position, I would commit never to run for a higher office from that position. I don't think when an Attorney General brings a matter on behalf of the people of New York, people should ever question, is that being done for political reasons or is that being done for the interests of the people of New York?
John, let's talk as Republicans. The nation is listening to us, but people in New York know perfectly well this is a very blue state, one of the dominant blue states of the country. That means the Democrats dominate not only Manhattan and the 5 boroughs of New York, but also the whole state right now and the Assembly, which has a great deal of power. So as a Republican, the puzzle these days is, and you're endorsed by Joe Lhota, for example, the former Republican mayor in New York, mayoral candidate in New York. As a Republican, you're looking at a state where you start looking uphill. What can a Republican do for this blue state right now?
Well, I believe the message of a Republican about opportunity, equal opportunity, John, will resonate throughout the state. You know, I was lucky to work for an individual, Governor Pataki, who won the state 3 times by being inclusive to independents, to Democrats, to people of different backgrounds. And that's the message that I certainly intend to take around the state. We have to be a party of solutions, a party where we're pressing for economic opportunities for people around the state, regardless of their background. You know, the fight on immigration is something that I think has hurt the Republican Party, not only here but nationally. We have to be more inclusive as a party if we're going to get our ideas accepted and therefore get the power to change the state of New York.
You said the magic word, John, immigration. I'm a Republican long time from Pennsylvania. You're a Republican long time from New York. Right now, our party's in trouble because it will not confront the very clear indication that immigration reform is a requirement for the whole country, but certainly for the Republican Party to have any chance at all in the presidential contest in 2016, but in this state as well. Immigrants in this state form a vital part of the voting public. What can you tell them about the Republican Party? What needs to happen in the Republican Party, in your opinion?
Well, you know, I'm a proud son of Irish immigrants. I think I have great empathy to the immigrants, whether they be Irish or Latino or Asian. And it's the immigrants who really made this country what it is. They come here looking for opportunity, strong family values. Frankly, they come here representing the ideals that I think the Republican Party should hold so dear. But instead of embracing the ideals and the mission of the immigrants, we seem, certainly on the national level, to shun them and it's instead of embracing them. And, one of the issues that I've been talking about here, John, is the issue of the DREAM Act here in New York State, and which has been quite controversial, which would essentially provide for children of undocumented aliens the same opportunities for tuition assistance as others. And I believe that's the right thing. I don't believe in making a distinction of children because of issues concerning their parents. We need to, as a party, have a message of being more inclusive. And as Attorney General, as a statewide elected official, we should be weighing into the debate in Washington, because what happens in immigration reform in Washington is going to have enormous impacts here in New York. You can travel to any hotel, any restaurant. You're not going to get served without somebody who probably is an undocumented immigrant in any of these establishments in New York City. It's the way our economy is going to grow. It keeps our economy going now. We have to not only accept that, embrace it, and find a way for a path forward for these immigrants to become part of our society.
I enjoy when I take a cab in New York. You're never sure what country you're going to travel to when you get in and read and read the name on the license plate, because sometimes it's Ghana, sometimes it's Pakistan. Most recently, it was Nepal. A Sherpa driving a cab. He's a very good driver. So I don't know whether they're here with documents or without documents, but in any event, the experience of being in New York is to have an international city all around us. It frustrates me, John, that what we see in New York as Republicans, the rest of our party is puzzled about or frozen or mute. I can't tell whether the enmity represents the majority or whether these are just flamethrowers raising money. Can you tell?
Well, I don't know either, John, but I do get a sense that the party from Washington is getting the message. I think we finally heard some strong voices for immigration reform. Mark Rubio, Jeb Bush, Lita Boehner. I mean, all have come out and taken on, if you would, certain issues of our party and have supported comprehensive immigration reform. So, you mentioned New York City and the diversity. Isn't that what makes our city so great?
Yeah, sure.
It's wonderful, and that's why everybody wants to come here to our city, because of the diversity and the celebration of different walks, way of life. And I think I hope that the party in Washington is finally getting the message that we need to find a pathway forward for these individuals, make them part of our society. Yes, we need to secure the borders. We need to make sure we integrate these people more fully into our society.
A long road ahead of you, Mr. Cahill. You've made the decision. I wouldn't have pushed you into it. I hope you'll come back and comment, because there's lots of controversy to talk about. We've touched on immigration, other issues, and you and I can worry about the Republican Party together as well.
Well, we worry about the party and the state and our country, and I look forward to being back and talking with you many times about this, John.
John Cahill. He's a candidate for the Attorney General of the State of New York, a Republican candidate for the Attorney General of the State of New York. I'm John Batchelor. This is The John Batchelor Show.